What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked it, sub, and let's get into this. And as someone who has played every single Assassin's Creed to 100%, including the mobile games, and who put it off and is finally now going through Mirage and understanding why I put it off, God, just soulless compared to some of the other ones. I was wanting Assassin's Creed Japan forever. Basically had to settle for Ghost of Tsushima, and after seeing everything about who's actually making this game and what they plan to put in it, I'm still going to have to settle for Ghost of Tsushima as the best Assassin's Creed game that's not in the Assassin's Creed universe. And I'm not the only one rejecting it. So here we go. Ubisoft finally gives Assassin's Creed fans the game they've always wanted, but is it too little too late? On Wednesday, May 5th, Ubisoft posted the official world reveal trailer for the next Assassin's Creed game on their official YouTube channel. Assassin's Creed Shadows finally moves the series to feudal Japan, a setting that fans have requested since the early days of the franchise. And shockingly, we were asking to play as a Japanese assassin, male. Not a female shinobi, a Japanese male samurai. I know. You may think this would be cause for celebration to many Assassin's Creed fans, but at the time of this writing, the trailer currently sits at a 40% dislike ratio. Nearly half of the potential customers seem to not like Ubisoft's next offering. I wonder why. The trailer begins with a hooded figure, and then for some reason they just go on to describe the trailer, which you've all seen before. We'll point out that where it ends in the trailer is we then get treated to a mini montage of the two receiving an assassination mission and storming a castle. It's actually pretty well done, but that's not unusual for Ubisoft trailers. We then cut back to the first scene with the samurai demanding again to know who Naue serves. Yasuke, standing behind him, replies, "We are the shadows," and Naue finishes, "Who serve the light," as she skills the target. He means kills. The trailer shows absolutely no gameplay, but it does make sure to let customers know that they can pre-order the game right now. And of course, if you pay attention to those prices, it's $130 for the most complete version. Ubisoft also released a companion video to the trailer that explains who Naue and Yasuke are. The video at the time of the writing is sitting at a 50% like to dislike ratio. In this video, Charles Benoit, the game's director, explains that Naue is the shinobi character who will and I remember someone saying that shinobi or female ninjas were called something else, but that's all right. Character who will specialize in stealth and assassination, and Yasuke is the samurai character who will specialize in combat. Good luck with that. He says, "We wanted players to experience both. We cannot squeeze both fantasies into one character." I wager you're not going to be able to squeeze one fantasy into one of these characters because they come from different classes and have different... Yes, Yasuke is a slave. That's the class he comes from. That is a very interesting opinion, considering that Ghost of Tsushima, a game that many consider to be quite similar and superior to the Assassin's Creed games, at least the recent ones, had a character that was both a samurai and a shinobi, and it was a key focal point of the game of which side he would choose. And it not only worked, but they made that duality a focus of the narrative to great effect. And I reject this basically white people saying that, nah, there's enough Japanese representation with samurai. You have enough games. This is time for Black people's representation in the Japanese game. No, you don't get to be the arbiters and the dictators of who gets representation when. Normally, I wouldn't make a comparison between the games, but since Ubisoft decided to drop their feudal Japan game trailer the day before the PC release of Ghost of Tsushima, it seems like they're begging for it, and fans were quick to notice as well. Brooke Davies, an associative narrative director, says that the historical character of Yasuke presented a really exciting opportunity for the narrative team. How awfully convenient that Ubisoft decides to pick the one Black man living in feudal Japan as one of the protagonists for their game set in Japan. I bet the narrative team was absolutely salivating when they heard about Yasuke, and I'm sure they would use it as an excuse to do any revisionist history and anything. Yeah, that's exactly true. What's that, Wikipedia? There's absolutely no historical account of Yasuke being a samurai. How is this possible? Well, don't worry, because there was a Wikipedia war where back and forth they were editing it, much like they did with Black Cleopatra. No evidence whatsoever, but they don't need it for the revisionist history. According to Brooke Davies, everything in Assassin's Creed is research and history first. How could they have made this fundamental historical inaccuracy? She does at least admit that not much is known about Yasuke, but what we do know is he arrived in Japan in 1579, right when our game starts, right when you decided to start the game there, because it's already been leaked out. There was an entirely different protagonist who was a Japanese monk before they switched it to the ESG hire. Again, what a coincidence that Ubisoft could have picked any year to set their game in and just happened to choose the year that Yasuke arrived in Japan, almost like Japan had no interesting history until a black man finally arrived. Well, yes, that is 100% correct. You understand that now. Yeah. That's exactly why they chose it. She also says, and we know that he had relationships with some of the most interesting people in our setting, like Nobunaga, the Portuguese, and the Jesuits, which made it very sort of tantalizing and enticing from a narrative perspective to come in and start weaving these facts with story in between. Again, I'm sure the writers did indeed find the character of Yasuke to be irresistible, but does anyone else find it strange that out of the three of listed most interesting people in our setting are not Japanese? The whole video is just giving a feeling that Ubisoft really does not care for Japan or Japanese history. I don't see any passion for what the setting brings, only passion for what makes Assassin's Creed Shadows different from a typical feudal Japan setting. The problem is that fans like the typical feudal Japan setting. That's why we've been begging for Assassin's Creed game to be set here for years, not so that you can change it into something else. And I would also point out that many Japanese fans are pointing out that much of the architecture, some of the technology seen in it is actually Chinese, not Japanese, which would lead even more credence to these theories that they don't give a shit about actual Japanese culture or displaying it. In the Assassin's Creed, in the end, Assassin's Creed has always been a series about blurring the lines of history, but it still showed historical accuracy while bending in the tale of the Isu and the Assassins and the Templars. There were real characters, and all they did is reframe what they did, didn't actually change what they did. In case there's any sort of confusion, there's no such thing as Uru, he might have meant Isu, or the Animus, or magic apples that mind control people. So if the games have always been historically inaccurate, does it really matter if Yasuke is not portrayed accurately? Yes, it does, because while the fictional things were always fictional, the history that it was embedded in was real. The cultures, it was real, to the point where even Ubisoft was touting their discovery tours as teaching things in ancient Greek, and in I believe they did it for Valhalla too, and they certainly did it for Origins. Of look at how accurate and historically accurate our world is. So that is bullshit, lies, and cope, and mostly done by people who've never played an Assassin's Creed, or maybe they played a couple of in the beginning but haven't played them for over a decade. Well, that's not really for us to decide. If the fans think it's an issue, it's going to be an issue for Ubisoft sales, not only of this game, but future entries to the already tarnished series. It is up to us to decide, by the way. We've already seen the like to dislike ratios on 2 videos, and while they're not the worst, they're really bad. They're literally the worst. Well, they're not the worst we've seen. They're the worst we've seen for Assassin's Creed. They're literally the most ratioed Assassin's Creed in the history of the fucking franchise. And then they just go over comments of the actual players. Some of us have been waiting for 10 years for an Assassin's Creed in Japan, and this is what we got. I have been blue balls by Ubisoft for nearly 20 years to get this game. I can't wait to play Ghost of Tsushima on PC, and I'm seeing the comments on that too. Yeah, it's a masterpiece, and everyone's playing it. And unfortunately, if you want an amazing samurai game set in Japan, you're going to have to settle for that. I mean, it's not settle, it's a great game, but you're never going to get your Assassin's Creed set there. Unless you want to play as a big black brother in the 1500s who was never actually a samurai. And again, yeah, the 41,000 likes. The most heroic thing about that trailer is that they left the comments open. Always remember, the best part about a Ubisoft game is usually the trailer. Remember, this is Ubisoft, no pre-orders. They come from the same river, greed. Totally described Ubisoft. Ubisoft finally makes a samurai Assassin's Creed game. Also, Ubisoft doesn't let play as a Japanese samurai. I need Assassin's Creed Africa with an Asian man as the main character. And I think we can end it on that. Whereas Assassin's Creed, they've already had Assassin's Creed Origin. I know that's North Africa. There's an Egyptian as the main character. Shocking. Let me know what you think of this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.